Jerry.
This is Lane.
This is Dave. And you are listening to the Creative Impulse Podcast.
I am monitored, Dr. Morbius, to respond to 187 languages.
Well, I think English will be enough. Now, tell me, what are your duties here on this planet?
I clean your house. I drive your atomic car. I cook your meals.
Oh, cook my meals. Now, how do you manage that?
Well, today I kind of wanted to talk about something that really interests me as an artist, and that's robots. So I kind of wanted to just feel out from my compatriots here how they feel about that, and just kind of get a little conversation going.
Goddamn nerds.
Very much so. I'm not going to deny that. I'm a geek. I looked up something on about some of the early appearances of robots in art and literature. And this is just a little entry that I pulled from Wikipedia. The first reference in Western literature to mechanical servants appears in Homer's Iliad. In the book 18, Hephaestus, god of fire, creates a new armor for the hero Achilles, assisted by robots. According to the Rayu translation, golden maidservants hasten to help their master. They look like real women and could not only speak and use their limbs, but were endowed with intelligence and trained in handiwork by the immortal gods. Of course, the word robot or android are not used to describe them, but they are nevertheless mechanical devices, human in appearance. So, I guess I've always been fascinated by the way that robots look, the way they move, the idea of what they stand for. I wanted to explore, well, why? Why am I fascinated?
What do they stand for?
Well, that's what I want to pose to. I was thinking that, one of the things that one possibility is, are robots a way of understanding ourselves? Are robots our successors? Are we fascinated with robots because by studying robots and understanding how they work, is it a way of understanding the way that we think and work? Are we fascinated with them because they're actually a form of our progeny, like they're our children? Are we fascinated with robots because they're stronger versions of ourselves? I remember as in my youth, robots, if we think of robots as they're armored and they're strong, so maybe it's a way we're projecting we admire them because they're so guarded. Whereas we're vulnerable, they're impervious. So I don't know. Those are some possibilities. What do you guys think about that? Are you guys even fascinated about, interested in robots in the way that I am?
I love robots. They're awesome.
In fact, Jerry is a robot.
I am.
Hey, I
have been for some time.
The Gerbot 3000.
Robots are awesome, wrapped in a layer of
goodness,
of goodness, and an extra crunchy layer of super awesome. I love robots.
And they love you, Jer.
Really?
You said, do we admire them?
Or an affinity. You have an affinity for robots.
And you also said something about, do we see them as like our progeny?
Yes.
Well, isn't there like a godlike situation going on there? A lot of fiction has dealt with that.
Yes. You see it in those examples, and then you see something as contemporary as Battlestar Galactica. The idea of
yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting connection, right? Throw that in there.
Actually, that wasn't a clip. That was Dave doing a sound.
I was belching there. I was belching. And the other idea is also, are robots a way of understanding ourselves? I used to think that, by asking these questions about the psychology of robots, well, I guess there are many robot psychologists out there who kind of study humans first in order to understand how a robot might be constructed. So is that a kind of possibility?
Well, I guess that the robots are a human creation, obviously, I think that will influence our perception of robots as being these like two-legged, two-armed.
They're representational.
Representational.
Yeah.
They
or the on Doctor Who
Where is the doctor?
K9. Yeah.
K9.
But robots seem to transcend like the fragility that humans beholden to.
We get to achieve an invulnerable state through what we create.
Yeah.
And it functions as a proxy
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah. But you could also do a lot with. I mean, if you're feeling warlike, you can add weapons to robots, or
There's a functionality to it.
Yeah, or robots can be super intellectual, or I think the potential with robots is I think people see that they have the potential to become more than what we are.
Well, this is what movies like 2001 and Jurassic Park and Westworld. This is the idea that they deal with, is like you give so much power to artificial intelligence, it doesn't have the humanity to know that it's making a wrong decision.
But it also doesn't have wisdom.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Here, speaking of wisdom,
I believe I am feeling anxiety. It is an intriguing sensation. The most distracting.
Data, I'm sure it's a fascinating experience, but perhaps you should deactivate your emotion chip for now.
Good idea, sir. Done.
Data, there are times that I envy you.
is there a difference in the way that we think about robots now versus the way we thought about robots 30, 40, 50 years ago? Well, way we project their relationship could be to humans or is to humans right now, since now we have robots. There are robots around us. There are drones. And
I think the fact that we actually do have robots has definitely influenced our perception of them. Now I think we right now we're probably trying to think of like the more practical uses of robots, you know, and we're kind of working out like the technical stuff, like what can we do with like robots now as opposed to like what we can do with robots like 50 years from now.
Have robots been demystified, or have they become more mystified? Are robots a threat to us, or are they our friends, or is that still kind of up in the air? Versus
they're neutral.
They're neutral.
They're neutral. It's situational.
Yeah, we still control them. They don't have their own intelligence.
Do we fear that? It seemed like in the 50 years ago there was a fear that robots were going to take our jobs and take away our lives. Is that something?
Well, they have. That's actually come to pass.
That's come to pass.
Yes.
Yeah, that's come to pass.
He's more machine now.
What about people? Are some people like robots? Are we become more robotic?
I think corporatization is reflective of that. Kind of ingrained inhumanity and dealing with people as if they were numbers. There's some sort of something robotic.
Yeah,
about that.
They probably some of your corporate leaders are probably envious of the emotional range of robots.
You mean they find it more expansive than their own?
Yeah, they find it more desirable than their own.
Is the line between man and machine becoming more blurred? Is there going to be a point that we won't be able to differentiate between man and machine? Or can you speculate that as machines become more evolved, that we'll have to invent a line of differentiation? Could machines demand the same rights as us?
It's interesting if you did that documentary. What was it called? The Singularity.
The law of accelerating returns says that information technology grows exponentially.
The singularity is the point where our technology and ourselves are no longer two different things.
Soon we'll have, our bodies will be crawling with like microbots that kill disease before they even start. And
computers, phones, tech seems obsessed with pressing more and more incredible gizmos into less and less space. Never more so than in the field of nanorobotics, engineering on a truly micro scale. A robot just a millimetre wide, which, for medical purposes, is more than small enough to play about in your internal organs.
As artists, though, is it our, it feels as though it's our responsibility to kind of, to explore that. Fiction's kind of a playground for playing with these possibilities and issues and that sort of thing. And I wonder, as things go on, it seems as though, there in the past we were dealing with this kind of fear. There's kind of a xenophobia, related to robots, and now, we're more accepting of they have more of a place in our society, and I wonder, or amongst us. But I wonder could they ever demand of our equals if they achieve our level of intelligence.
Well, they don't have the ability to process ethics. You could program them to follow certain codes of conduct, but it's very mechanized. I mean, think about Prometheus.
What is it about robots that makes them so robotic? It has long been our goal to create artificial intelligence almost indistinguishable from mankind itself. Hello, I'm David,
What can you do, David?
I can do almost anything that could possibly be asked of me.
He created life.
I can assist your employees.
He took on a godlike role, but he had no ethics. He had no compunction, with creating that toxic cocktail that created the xenomorphs. Yeah. I don't know how they could how artificial intelligence could process the idea of ethics. Do you?
I think some very complex coding. I think it's hard. It's difficult to conceive of that. Of course, how do we do it though? Is it a function of soul?
I think it's part.
Or is it a function of
empathy?
Or is it a mechanical function? I mean, are we?
Yeah.
There are some scientists argue that we're nothing more than meat robots. We're meat suits. I mean, is there any validity to that? Are we? Was there someone who created us? Were we robots once?
You're like an emotionless robot.
Yeah, he is a robot. You're a robot. Robots are not to be trusted.
Well, there are different areas of the brain that deal with things like this. The part of your brain that deals with creating empathy, recognizing empathy, feeling empathy.
Right. Mm-hmm. But a lot of humans don't feel empathy. Are they still human?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a part of their brain that they're not using, or it's been corrupted somehow. I'm wondering can you program a robot to simulate that? But I mean, that does get into the area of spirituality and having a soul and being empathetic and stuff. And I don't know if a mechanized being would be capable of doing any of that.
Sometimes asking these questions about robots, it makes me kind of causes me to question. Well, are we truly as free as we think we are?
No, I'd probably not so much.
I am not a number. I am a free man.
we all have restrictions. We all have there are confines of society. I mean, there's certain norms that we have to conform to within our respective societies. There are laws you have to obey. For your own good and for the safety of other people. So
you said you have to.
You have to.
Do you? Some people don't.
That's why we have penalty. That's why we have.
No.
That's why we have. That's why we have governments and we have.
So that would
police.
be part of the coding.
Yeah, that's
what you're talking about.
We're coded. We're coded. I mean, sometimes I kind of wonder, just how different are we? In the end, is it just a matter of semantics? At the end of the day, that we can, we have inalienable rights because we claim it. Could machines one day claim that they have inalienable rights? Is it just a matter of just saying that you want them and then therefore you get them?
But I think with us, these ideas of like feeling something, whatever you want to call it, having sympathy. Mm-hmm. I think like a mechanized creature, you can only create like a simulation of that. Mm-hmm. You can't create an organically produced, reaction. Mm-hmm. Some people are they're wired badly, if you want to use, robotic metaphor, and that they, you could classify them as evil or whatever. They still have that ability somewhere in them. They just may have been, mentally.
But is it
damaged?
Damaged, yes.
Is it the material that makes a robot, or is it its position in a society that makes it a robot? Whether a robot was bioelectric or made of metal and plastic. Does that is that part of what differentiates whether or not it's a robot? If we were to biologically engineer sentient creatures, would they still be robots, or would they have the same rights as us? Versus if we were to engineer creatures that were made of metal that were sentient.
This is like the uncanny valley.
Yes.
Why we endeavor to create a robot that we can become comfortable with.
When you look at animations of people or animatronic robots or other strange human-looking things, do you feel repulsed? If so, you, my friend, are a victim of something called the uncanny valley.
Well, when is something considered life? And when you say it's considered life, it's entitled to the rights of life. Is it because because it was something that was spawned from, it's because of something? Is it when does it have the right to claim the rights of life?
Commander Riker has dramatically demonstrated to this court that Lieutenant Commander Data is a machine. Do we deny that? No, because it is not relevant. We too are machines, just machines of a different type.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It just had to do with Data's survival. He had to make the case that he was essentially alive.
Right. Is it? Yeah. I guess is it subjective? Is life subjective? The notion of being alive subjective, or the notion of having the rights, more important, the rights attached to being alive.
Well, I mean, there are also animals who are that they think are like self-aware. I mean, they've performed tests with seals, you know, to where they've held mirrors out, you know, and they recognize themselves in mirrors. And I think dolphins are like the same story.
So, if a robot is self-aware, is that the definition right there?
I think it would be.
So that robot is entitled to the same inalienable rights that we humans are, because it's self-aware. Could it make an argument? I wonder.
Can you cue the 2001 "Hello, Dave"? Can you cue that here?
I was just gonna leave that as I was gonna close us out on that, but let's do it. Let's close us out.
Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information, so I am constantly occupied. I am putting myself to the fullest possible use, which is all I think that any conscious entity can ever hope to do.